Beneath the sun-baked hills of the Italian peninsula, a silent subterranean machine continues to operate flawlessly after 2 millennia. The Via Appia stretches out like a spine of dark basalt, its surface scarred by the iron-rimmed wheels of long-dead chariots. This is not merely a path cleared through the wilderness, but a highly calibrated piece of infrastructure. It is a physical manifestation of absolute control, designed to defy the very earth it rests upon, standing as a testament to an era when construction was synonymous with conquest. To look at these surviving stones is to glimpse the terminal output of an incredibly complex system. Modern observers see only the weathered surface, entirely blind to the massive, layered architecture concealed deep beneath the soil. This hidden grid was the literal foundation of an entire civilization, a circulatory system of commerce, military dominance, and rapid communication. Its survival is not a miraculous accident of history, but the calculated result of meticulous, almost obsessive design protocols meant to withstand the ravages of deep time. The creation of this vast network was forged in unimaginable human sweat and brutal physical exertion. Tens of thousands of legionaries and enslaved laborers swung heavy iron pickaxes into unyielding bedrock day after grueling day. Their calloused hands and shattered muscles were the raw currency spent to carve perfectly straight lines through jagged mountain passes and dense malarial swamps. This was a raw, human saga of endurance, a relentless, bloody battle against the unforgiving natural world to impose geometric order upon chaos. Every mile advanced was paid for in broken bones and exhausted lungs. The laborers faced crushing rockfalls, searing Mediterranean heat, and the constant punishing rhythm of the mallet and chisel striking stone. Yet, out of this immense suffering, a profound discipline emerged. The workers were not merely moving dirt. They were executing a standardized, rigorous blueprint that demanded absolute precision from men pushed to the very limits of their physical and psychological capacity. The secret to this unprecedented permanence lies in the deep, unseen trenches carved into the earth. Before a single paving stone was laid, surveyors mapped a flawless trajectory, and laborers dug a wide trench known as the fossa. They excavated down to solid bedrock, sometimes plunging several meters deep into the earth, to ensure the roadbed would never shift or settle. This was the first critical step in a layered defense against the relentless forces of geological decay. Into this deep void, they deposited the statumen, a foundational layer of large, heavy stones tightly packed together by hand. This base course acted as the structural anchor, locking the entire assembly into the geology of the surrounding landscape. It was a brute force solution to the problem of subsidence, guaranteeing that the millions of tons of material stacked above it would remain perfectly stabilized, regardless of the heavy military traffic rumbling overhead. Above the statumen came the rudus, a thick layer of crushed rock and gravel bound together by a revolutionary material, Roman concrete. This was not the brittle, easily fractured cement of the modern era. The builders utilized pozzolana, a highly reactive volcanic ash sourced from the fiery slopes of Mount Vesuvius and the Phlegraean fields. When mixed with lime and seawater, this ash triggered a profound and enduring chemical transformation. This unique compound formed a crystalline matrix that actually grew stronger over time, especially when exposed to moisture. Instead of degrading under the relentless assault of groundwater, the volcanic concrete actively healed its own microfractures through ongoing chemical reactions. This ancient engineering wisdom transformed a vulnerable mixture of rubble into an artificial bedrock, a subterranean shield that locked the upper layers into an immovable, monolithic slab capable of bearing immense loads. Yet, the greatest enemy of any infrastructure is not heavy use, but the insidious, relentless power of water. Rainwater pooling on a surface will inevitably seep into microscopic cracks, freezing, expanding, and eventually tearing the structure apart from the inside out. The architects understood this existential threat perfectly. They knew that if they could not control the flow of water, their massive stone arteries would rot, dissolve into mud, and drag the empire down with them. Their brilliant solution was the agger, a raised embankment that elevated the roadbeds significantly above the surrounding terrain. By building the structure upward, sometimes as high as 1.5 meters, they ensured that the road would never be submerged by seasonal flooding or saturated by rising groundwater. The agger functioned as a continuous, linear dam, physically separating the delicate upper layers from the destructive dampness of the earth below. The crowning achievement of this layered fortress was the pavimentum, the visible surface of interlocking polygonal stones. Masons carved massive blocks of basalt or limestone, shaping them with such astonishing precision that they fit together without the need for mortar. The gaps between the stones were practically invisible, preventing even a blade of grass from taking root. It was a jigsaw puzzle of immense weight and flawless geometry, averaging 4.5 meters in width to allow 2 chariots to pass safely. This top layer was meticulously crowned, meaning it was slightly higher in the center than at the edges. This subtle convex curve forced rainwater to immediately sheet off the sides and into deeply excavated drainage ditches running parallel to the highway. The pavimentum was not just a driving surface, it was an impenetrable, self-draining roof that protected the delicate structural layers hidden beneath it from the devastating effects of erosion. This localized brilliance was then replicated on a staggering continental scale. The network eventually exploded outward to encompass over 400,000 kilometers of mapped routes, weaving a tight, inescapable web across Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. It was an unprecedented logistical grid, transforming disconnected tribal territories into a unified, highly synchronized geopolitical machine. The roads were the physical tethers holding the massive Roman Empire together. The primary function of this sprawling system was total military dominance. A legion of 5,000 heavily armed soldiers could march 30 miles a day on these smooth, unyielding surfaces, arriving at distant frontiers with terrifying speed. This rapid deployment capability meant that a rebellion in Britannia or a sudden incursion in Syria could be met with overwhelming, mechanized force before the enemy even realized the legions had been mobilized. However, this immense interconnectedness also introduced a profound vulnerability into the heart of the administration. The entire military and economic apparatus became utterly dependent on the continuous flow of traffic along these narrow stone corridors. A single collapsed bridge over a raging river or a mountain pass blocked by an unexpected avalanche could sever a vital artery, leaving frontier garrisons isolated, starving, and vulnerable to slaughter. If a critical junction was compromised, the cascading ripple effects were catastrophic. Supply chains carrying vital grain from Egypt would bottleneck, communication lines would go dark, and the carefully balanced logistics of the military would instantly unravel. The empire's greatest strength was simultaneously its singular point of catastrophic failure. The grid demanded constant, obsessive maintenance. Without it, the entire civilization risked a rapid and devastating paralysis. Despite these terrifying risks, the daily operation of the network was a marvel of administrative efficiency. Along the major routes, the state established a highly organized courier system, complete with way stations and fresh horses. Message runners and relay riders, stationed at regular intervals, could transmit vital military intelligence across the continent at speeds that would not be matched again until the invention of the telegraph. Information flowed like electricity through these stone circuits. Beyond mere logistics, the sheer physical presence of a Roman road was an instrument of psychological warfare. To local populations, a perfectly straight, raised highway cutting through a dark, ancient forest was a terrifying display of dominion. It signaled that the chaotic natural world had been conquered and that the relentless, organized power of Rome was inescapable. The road itself was a monument to absolute, unyielding authority. As the military secured the frontiers, these highways transformed into the economic blood vessels of the ancient world. Merchants hauled enormous wagons laden with olive oil, wine, silk, and spices across the unyielding stones, generating immense, unprecedented wealth. Cities swelled around critical intersections, their survival entirely dependent on the continuous, uninterrupted pulse of trade flowing over the raised embankments. The grid literally dictated the rise and fall of entire regional economies. But when the political structure of the empire finally fractured and collapsed, the massive apparatus of maintenance vanished with it. The centralized authority required to clear the drainage ditches, repair the heavy stone bridges, and replace shattered basalts dissolved into chaos and infighting. Slowly, the encroaching forests, shifting earth, and rising rivers began to reclaim the land. The circulatory system of the ancient world was left to die of neglect. Yet, in a stunning testament to their original design, the roads refused to completely disappear. The foundational trenches held firm against the shifting soil, the volcanic concrete continued to cure and harden in the damp earth, and the massive basalt stones defied the frost and the rain. The over-engineering that seemed so brutally excessive during their construction ultimately guaranteed their survival through the centuries of the Dark Ages. The contrast with our modern infrastructure is stark and deeply unsettling. Today we lay down ribbons of asphalt, a fragile, petroleum-based crust that cracks under the summer sun, dissolves in the winter rain, and requires complete replacement every 15 years. We build for immediate convenience and lowest cost, accepting a constant, expensive cycle of decay and repair. The ancient builders, however, constructed their grid with an eye toward eternity. Exploring the ancient engineering wisdom behind these structures reveals a profound philosophy of permanence that modern civil engineering has largely abandoned. The Romans understood that true efficiency is not found in the cheapest materials or the fastest construction timelines, but in building a system so robust that it outlives the civilization that created it. Their methods offer a stark, undeniable critique of our fragile, disposable modern grids. The lasting impact of their work is etched directly into the very map of modern Europe. Today, countless modern highways, high-speed railways, and bustling city streets still follow the exact, unyielding trajectories plotted by ancient surveyors over 2,000 years ago. We are still moving along the ghosts of their infrastructure, our modern vehicles rolling over the exact same foundational bedrock laid down by exhausted legionaries. The enduring engineering of these ancient pathways stands as a silent, monolithic monument to human tenacity and architectural brilliance. Beneath the soil, the deep foundations remain locked in place, and the volcanic chemical bonds hold fast against the immense weight of time. These roads are not just historical artifacts, they are a masterclass in resilience. They remind us that true durability is forged in the unseen depths, built to stand long after the empire has fallen.